Jan Pospisil, an associate professor at Coventry University's Centre for Trust, Peace and Social Relations. Professor, good to see you. First of all, the warring parties have agreed to name their envoys for peace talks. Do you sense that perhaps we're not far from seeing the two sides sitting at the negotiating table?
I mean, as such as in the report, there's conflicting news on that. I mean, on the one hand, there is obviously a good contact by the South Sudanese to both sides. They have, through the security advisor, good relations to Hemeti. The government has also kind of stable relationships with Burhan, who is also a guarantor of the South Sudanese peace process. So in a way, the South Sudanese would be in a good position. On the other hand, I'm very, very skeptical that at the moment there is a space for political negotiations. I honestly don't think so. This conflict is a result of failed negotiations before, and actually there is no other proposition tabled that would change this.
Taking that on board, South Sudan seems to be spearheading whatever mediation process might be being thought about. Just explain to us what advantage Juba might have in taking a leading role in this.
I mean, Juba has already hosted the Sudanese peace process that ended with the so-called Juba Peace Agreement, which was then also negotiated on behalf of IGAD, the regional organization, by the South Sudanese Mediation Commission. The head of this mediation commission, EU, has long-standing relationships with Sudan. He grew up in Sudan himself, very close to Bashir, and has nowadays, it is said, very close relationships also to Hemeti, which are mainly running through the United Arab Emirates. So there is strong relationships here. On the other hand, the presidency has solid relationships with General Burhan. Burhan himself is in Juba quite regularly, so they know one another very well, also on a high level. And there would be kind of, if there is some leeway, they would be well placed to host negotiations.
The big concern, of course, is contagion, whatever word you want to use, overspill, and a wider regional conflict. I mean, concerns have been raised in the Darfur region. Should this conflict go on and on? I mean, is your sense that there is a danger that it leads to a full-blown civil war and all that that means?
I mean, the developments in Darfur are really, really concerning. The issue is that now there is more or less a free-floating of tribal militias that start to loot in wide areas of the country. In El Janena, there is shocking pictures coming up. What we have not yet seen, and this is the big risk, that there is a number of armed organizations in Darfur that have considerable military strength. It is particularly some of the factions of the Sudanese Liberation Movement, especially Abu Wahid, who is placed around Jebel Mara, but also Minawi's faction. There's also Jem in the region. They have so far not yet started to fight in this war, but you have to take into account that they are protecting their people. They are kind of a protection force of various other tribes in the region, and there is mounting pressure on them to indeed enforce a certain protection mandate for their people if this looting is going to continue. And if this happens, then this war is definitely going to escalate.
Professor, good to see you. Thank you for your time. That's Jan Pospisil, Associate Professor at Coventry University Centre for Trust, Peace and Social Relations.